What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing today? What's going on? So, we got to keep this content coming for you all. I got something special for you today. So, if you haven't already watched it, make sure you watch my last video, Family, the Foundation to Generational Wealth. Make sure you watch that because that's some really good information, some really good content in there. And I have something kind of like a follow up to that video right now that I'm bringing to you. Make sure if you're watching via YouTube, come on now, press that like button, press that subscribe button, and you know what to do. Ring the bell, press that notification bell so you can get notified when I upload new videos and new content. Thumbs up. Yes. Subscribe. Come on. The Working People's Podcast. Hey, and if you're watching via, Facebook right here, Facebook, make sure you throw a little, did double tap or do put that little heart in there, some thumbs up, some comments down below. This, I'm telling you, this hot. Ooh, this is about to be hot. This is a must-watch video. Like I said, it's kind of a follow-up. So if you haven't watched the video that I just did yesterday, previous video, Family, the Foundation to Generational Wealth, make sure you watch that video. Okay, so I'm going to read something to you, right? As I'm reading through this, some of you may have heard this before. You might say, "Oh, that's such and such a thing," right? So there was a video done, like I don't want to say it, like a little documentary. It's like a documentary that was done. So here's part of the content from the documentary. I'm going to just read a few things to you. So the guy, nice movie screens, everything comes on, music, beautiful music playing, and the guy comes in with this really nice theatrical, very nice sounding voice. I don't know if I'll be able to do that, but I'm going to try. So he says, "Hello, I'm Bob Trout." Oh, by the way, shout out to the Lansing Lugnuts. Semi-pro team, I believe, in the Lansing, Michigan. So I'm gonna read this to you. Ready? It was a documentary that was done, right, on spending our consumers in a particular market. "Hello, I'm Bob Trout. I've got a story here that I think is big, really big, because it's bound to have a terrific impact on business. I'm talking about a new market, a big new market, millions upon millions of new prospects with $15 billion to spend." That's right. I said 15 billion. That's a lot of money, isn't it? The surprising thing is that it's a fresh market, still full of opportunities. It grew up so fast, got so big in a hurry that few of us realized its scope. Now, these days, nobody's likely to pass up chances to sell. And yet, right here in our own front yard, there, there's a neglected market. There's money waiting to be spent. To get the story of this market, to be able to tell you the secret of selling the Negro, we did a lot of digging. We talked to leading businessmen, to customers, and to salesmen. We went to Washington, D.C. We set up cameras in other key points around the nation. And out of this all, there emerged a story, the story of a new market. Now, remind you, prior to like maybe 1965, prior to 65, that's why you need to watch the previous video. We were like 80% married, African American black people, right? Prior to like 1965, we were 80% married. Now, watch the video, we're 30% married. Okay. Bob continues on. They live in Chicago, in Atlanta, or New York, in Detroit, St. Louis, Los Angeles. any one of the thousand of cities and towns all over the country, families such as this are enjoying the new prosperity. They have new interests, new standards of living, a buying power they've never enjoyed before. Let me see, they're good prospects for practically all types of goods and services. All too often, though, they're overlooked prospects. Why? Because of some good, valid reasons? No, they're overlooked because of mistaken ideals, because of out of date ideals about how the Negro lives and how he buys. Then later on, a few lines later, maybe a paragraph or so later, Bob goes on to say, so why let a lot of old fashioned ideals hurt profits? Then he brings on the Secretary of Commerce of the United States, Sinclair Weeks. He's passed on, I think, in 1970 something. I'd have to double check that date, but he is the ex Secretary of Commerce of the United States. Now, there have been studies done in Washington, D.C., even about the buying power of the Negro. Well, that's how it was said then. Black people. So, Secretary since Sinclair Weeks comes on and he has a few things to say, and he begins to say recently, this is Sinclair Weeks, the ex-Secretary of Commerce of the United States, Washington, D.C., he begins to say, recently, we have been interested in a rising young market, one that represents a huge potential for goods and services. I'm referring to the new Negro market. Now, he begins to go on to explain how they have been tracking data, however you want to say it, since 1939. And he goes on to talk about the earnings, how the earnings have increased since 1939. So they've been tracking numbers from Negro buyers, purchasers, consumers since 1939, Black people. Then he goes on to give some stats and some data, right? He says, here is a buying power. This is Sinclair Weeks continuing on. Here is a buying power that cannot help but have a tremendous effect on our national economy and on business prosperity in general. When these dollars are spent for a wide range of goods, services, and employment, business everywhere is bound to feel the impact. Now, Bob comes back in later in the video. I'm going to tell you where you can go find this video if you want to watch it for yourself. Bob Trout comes back in, and Bob begins to talk about the nation's largest newspaper and magazine research organization called Daniel Starch and staff, how they did these in-depth studies and came up with numbers and figures and statistics where they are able to track and have been tracking the buying and purchasing of Black families, the Negro. And Bob begins to read some of these statistics from Daniel Starch and from some of their in-depth worldwide studies and research. Bob says more than 51% of the readers of Ebony magazine have a record player in their homes. Almost 64% own a television set, and almost 78% enjoy the convenience of an electric refrigerator. And then he says per capita, and if you looked at my video yesterday and you saw the research that was pulled up and presented to you, Bob says per capita, they buy more cosmetics, drugs, and toiletries than anyone in the country. Then Bob begins to say, actually, he brought on the psychologists that, he talked about that, and he was giving those statistics from psychologists. But it's like, no, that was from the research done. Okay, I'm getting some of my stuff mixed up. Okay, so Bob begins to continue on, and Bob says the impact of this new buying force is so tremendous that actually in 14 major United States markets, and they show them on a little graph, on a little picture, says this buying force is so tremendous that actually in 14 major United States markets, a product cannot be number one without Negro support. A product must have the backing of this big new buying power to be a leader in its field. Oh, by the way, this is from 1954. 1954, and it's from you could go and pull it up on YouTube, a documentary that was done called The Secret of Selling the Negro, 1954. And this is when he started quoting some statistics from sales psychologists. He said these sales psychologists from all over the world, men all over the world, have been studying this new buying power, this new potential profitable buying power right in the United States. He says it's a well-known fact. This is what one of the sales psychologists reported out, and now Bob is reading it. It's a well-known fact that many Negro customers, when they were talking about the buying habits of Black people, it is a well-known fact that many Negro customers are influenced by the opinions of others. What their friends think of a certain item often decides whether or not the sale is made. So remember, the Negro buys quality merchandise. So 1954 documentary that was done to try to dispel some of the ideals that um, of the money that was being missed out on by some people that may have had some outdated ideals about selling and to Black people. And the documentary is called The Secret of Selling the Negro, 1954. And you can look it up on YouTube. So in my video, like I mentioned, prior to 1965, we were 80% married. Now we're 30% married. I think the number is like 27% of Black women marry. And I want to say it's like maybe 33%, I believe. I'm going off of memory from the previous video. A Black man marry, but like 50% of all Black people never been married. Like 54%, if I remember my numbers straight. Y'all correct me if you watch the video. Like 54% of Black men never married, never married. And so I talked about in that video how now, because of how some of the dynamics have changed of the family, there is a vested interest to keep us separated and keep us from marrying. Because look at the buying power. We're what was the number? $1.4 trillion. And out of all the money that's spent on beauty products and hair products and stuff like that, out of all the money that's spent in that particular those items, that 85% of that is spent by Black people, of all the dollars that are made off of hair products and beauty products. And 20% of those are men's, and 20% of men's toiletries, 20% of that is purchased by Black people. So do you need more evidence? Do you need more evidence, y'all? Do y'all need more? What else do I need to say to convince you? You know, maybe some of you thought I was just blowing some hot air yesterday in the video. It just he don't know what he talking about. He just spouting off. He just saying some stuff. Well, they've been tracking you buying stuff, your grandmama buying stuff, your great grandpappy buying stuff since at least 1939. Been studying, tracking the data, doing research, hiring psychologists to understand why we buy what we buy since 1939. So, can I get a standing ovation? If we're spending all of this money and you're not saving, you're not investing, You got fear about the stock market. You think it's of the devil, and you think that the stock market is just controlled by a bunch of aliens. I'm just being facetious when I say that, sarcastic. And you don't think that it's that you are adverse to certain types of markets or certain types of investments and different things like that. Okay, I get it. But understand this. Understand this. You heard me read it. That was from 1954. That your dollars matter. Your buying power matters. We're number 3 presently in the United States in buying power. So why not prepare and set up a legacy and be better stewards over the money that we have? Everybody, there's nobody should be saving or investing less than 10% of the income, minimum 10%. And statistics show that less than like about 16% of people, all Americans, save 15% or more of their income. I personally say people should be saving 15% of their income. Every time something, you get a paycheck, you should automatically have something, at least 10 to 15% being saved and invested in something for the future, because we talk about generational wealth. Well, you got to pass it to somebody, right? And we talking about generational, that it got to last more than your lifespan and your lifetime. So I suggest and recommend that we reconsider our purchasing habits and reconsider our thoughts and mindset about um, being consumers and what we buy. Look in here, and I said it in a little impromptu video I did, and I know I'm probably gonna catch some heat again in this video, but there's great push about the credit scores, and I get it. You want to have a good credit score. I'm not mad at that. In fact, what I'm about to say is probably going to even validate it even more. But when you are just only so concerned about your credit score and what your credit rating is, why? So you can go and buy more stuff and charge more stuff. Okay, get better interest rates, but so you can buy more stuff on credit, right? I- If that's the whole idea behind it. But wealth is not gauged, and wealth is not measured by how high your credit score is. Wealth is measured by your net worth. What are you worth? Your assets minus your liabilities. What are you worth? And if you are paying down your liabilities, and if you are buying assets that appreciate in value over time, your net worth will increase. And as a result of that, and subsequently, your credit score will increase because you are lowering your debt, raising your assets, and you're raising your net worth. But when we only focus on the one, and we don't even think about, don't even have a clue, don't even understand how wealth is measured and the importance of building your net worth and buying appreciable assets, assets that appreciate in value over time, we will keep being consumers and spending money and buying stuff that has no value, that depreciate in value over time. I'm out. Thank you for watching the Working People's Podcast. Hey, like I said, make sure if you're watching via YouTube, come on now, press that subscribe button. We're trying to get the channel up and off the ground and get it soaring. Yes. And also press that thumbs up like button and press that notification bell. And if you're watching via Facebook, show me some hearts, man. Show your brother some hearts and share this video. Share this video. Share this information. Share this content, right? And let's have some conversations and begin to reevaluate our mindset about money and our mindset about spending and our mindset about saving and our mindset about investing, and become good stewards and discipline over the resources that we have, right? Press them heart buttons and share this video. Come on now. Thank you for watching the Working People's Podcast. And I'm out.